Hey, everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co host, and partner in crime, Christy Brower. Hello.
Hello, hey everybody. Happy Wednesday night.
I always look forward to the live stream, like I know a lot of
I
you guys
know.
do,
Me too. It's a lot of fun.
back in the good old days of the Lori Vallow trial. And
We
we
did a
did a
lot of live
live,
streams back then.
so many, nearly every night. And so many of you guys later were like, I really miss this. I'm like, I know, the lives are really fun.
They are, but every night was, well, it was a lot.
Oh, goodness. We both kind of fell apart.
Oh, we did. We crashed hard after that for a little while. Yeah.
Our health fell apart. We let everything else slide. That was a lot. But sometimes I wonder
Yeah.
if one a week isn't enough because I miss you guys. So I'm glad we're here. That's what
Hmm.
I have to say about that.
Well, there you
I will
go.
say, though, last weekend we had the Murdaugh Murders Lifetime uh, 2 night event extravaganza, belligerent turd circus going on.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
And we did it as a watch
So
party, and that was so much fun to just hang out in the chat with you guys.
it was. It was a lot of fun.
And I wanted you to know that tonight is also our regular watch party, and that's happening at 8:15 Mountain, so just directly after this show. And Christy, you chose the documentary this time. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So it's called The Devil on Trial. It is on Netflix. So we always pick something on Netflix, so it's easy for you to find it. It is an hour and 20 minutes, and it is a ride. It is scary. There's some exorcism involved in it. There are those Amityville horror folks that did the investigation there are in it. It is about an 11-year-old boy who murdered his neighbor, who he and everyone around him swear that he was possessed when it happened. So it is the story. It's scary. There's some actual recordings of him during their sort of exorcism type things that went on, and they interview him and lots of members of his family. This happened a long, long time ago. It is not fictional.
Yeah.
It is a story that happened.
Wow.
It so anyway, I'll just leave it at that. It is a true
Okay.
crime documentary, and it's definitely worth a watch. But be prepared that it is a little scarier than what we normally watch.
I'm bringing my dogs
Yeah,
for
there you go.
cuddling. Yeah.
Yeah, you may need that.
So here's how the watch party works. You do have to be a part of our subscription service on YouTube. It's $4.99 a month,
Mm.
and you just have to subscribe, and then you'll receive that notification that that is happening, and then you can join that. And as usual with a watch party, we aren't streaming it because that would be illegal. You watch it on your own device on Netflix, and we'll watch it on our devices on Netflix, and we'll just chat together in the chat. So
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
what
So
it's all
we'll be able
about.
to talk about how spooky it is. Right, Deanna. I thought let's pick something spooky because it's Halloween month, so it was good timing. But yeah, we'll
Absolutely.
just be able to chat while we watch.
I love it. Well, how
Yeah.
are you? What you been doing all day?
I am good. I feel like I've been doing a lot of true crime all day. We did an episode earlier. We have this live stream, and then we have the watch party. So that's pretty much been my whole day.
Yeah, I feel like that too. It's wild. Well, I went to buy some so I went to buy some glass from a lady. I've been really wanting to do glass fusing. And so it's taken me a little time to find a kiln. I finally bought a kiln yesterday. I found this lady in a town that's about an hour from here that had a whole bunch of glass. And so I had a kind of a loose arrangement with her and went there to buy glass. And as it turned out, no, she wanted way more money than she first indicated. And it really,
Oh, really?
really
And
soured Scott and I both. If you tell someone to make you an offer and you refuse to give them a price, so they make you an offer and you go, No. Motherfucker, make an offer. Tell us what you want.
Tell us what
God.
you yeah, yeah, give us a ballpark here.
We just had this
Wow.
weird, uncomfortable exchange with her. Her husband was just mortified. It was awful. And so we're like, well, goodbye. But
That is bizarre. I mean, you wanna sell something, but you don't really wanna sell it, or what's the deal here?
I think so. So on the upside, we saw quite a few of the items that we do need, but it was a great opportunity for Scott to see them and go, I can make that, or I have that, or I know how to
Uh,
buy that for other purposes. It's the same thing and it's 10 times cheaper. So it was
uh-huh.
a loss because we learned a lot and are getting some things figured out. But why are people like that?
I don't know, it's weird, but marketplace people selling stuff, like, on marketplace, it is sometimes very strange, and you can't
Hmm.
decide if they really wanna sell it or not,
She
or yeah,
doesn't.
they don't
Mm-mm.
totally non-committal, yeah.
When we got home, I noticed that she had then posted all of that stuff as a lot on Marketplace because I came into it in a bit of a different way uh, for 5 times what we had offered her. And she'll
Which
never
she'll
get that in
never
a
get.
bazillion years. She also told me that that stuff had been sitting in her garage in unopened boxes for the last 10 years. I
Wow.
I'm flabbergasted, but it's fine. Again, we learned things and everything's fine, but God,
Sure.
people are weird. Just so weird.
Yeah, that is true.
Um,
No, this is not included in our Patreon. The watch party is just for YouTube.
mhm,
I know it gets confusing. There's too many of these, I don't know, paid services, but what they do is they help support us and
mhm.
help us do what, the things that we can do. But yeah, it is only for our YouTube membership people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, obviously, the big news today was the Natalie Holloway case, and
Dun, dun, dun.
Joran Vandersloot finally pled guilty, and we already did an episode on it earlier today. So, oh, sorry, I'm coughing in your ear. I thought I was muted. Uh, sorry
No.
about it. I think I muted and unmuted real fast. At any rate, I'll try not to do that again, ever again. But anyway, so yeah, that was huge. Obviously, the only update we have is that we had said in our live or in our recording earlier today that we were hoping that Aruba would still charge him, and we have now learned, thanks to you guys because you rock, that Aruba has a 12-year statute of limitations on murder.
That
What?
is insane. 12 years? Holy crap.
Yeah,
Oh, that's terrifying.
yeah. Don't like that,
No, I mean, what happened to no statute of limitations on murder?
right? Why?
After
Why?
12 years, you're just in the clear?
I,
Yikes.
I guess. So we were still saying we were hoping Aruba would charge him, and it sounds like that's probably not happening due to that statute of limitations. However, thank God there was justice for her family. Yeah.
Yeah, they got something. They at least got a confession. Who knows? This is Jordan Vandersloot.
Mhm.
Who the hell knows? But at
Right.
least it's something
Hmm.
for them to hang on to.
Yeah, for
They're all
sure.
basing his truthfulness on polygraph tests, and I'm like, okay. Except
Hmm.
polygraph tests are not actually admissible in court. Doesn't mean he isn't still lying, but at least he did say he killed her.
Hmm. Yeah.
At least that part I think we can trust.
I think so. I hope so. Yeah. Yeah. The courts should not be done with Jurin or Joran.
Jordan, yeah,
Yeah, in any way.
whoever.
You know what I think, Noe, about that? She said, I'm glad her mom is getting justice for swindling her out of thousands of dollars. I think his family, I think his family should do the right thing because he is from a wealthy family. I think they should give her that money back. I do. I mean, obviously, he probably put it all up his nose already or whatever, but
Right,
I think his family should say, you know what? Our son's a piece of shit. He did some really horrible things. Besides the fact that he murdered these people's child, he extorted them for $25,000, and we are going to do the right thing and give that money back.
Right?
They probably won't, but that's my opinion.
They
They
probably
should.
will, but I agree. I agree. Right. See, Amber, that's my question too. If this happened the way he said, and he just walked out to like knee deep water and floated her out into the water, why didn't her body end up back on shore? Some people are saying there are sharks out there. Okay, that's a crapshoot, though. I mean, tides, exactly. Amber's like,
Yeah.
because like tides, I know. I was thinking the same thing. Like, how did
Hmm.
her body not turn up?
Right. And maybe it was predation, but then again,
Yeah.
it's a good question, a really good question. Yeah, that too, Kaylin. Did he take her out way deeper? And if he did, who drove the boat?
Right. Yeah. Because all of this was, it was only him by himself. Those other men that were with him that night had already
Hmm.
left. They weren't involved. But it does make you wonder, like, did they go out on a boat and dump her body further out? It's hard for me to imagine that her body didn't wash back up on the beach if it
Hmm.
happened the way that he said it did.
It is also sad.
It
Yep.
is because there obviously her body is never going to be recovered at this point.
No, no, that's just done. But her mom seemed to be satisfied, and that's really all that matters. I'm glad that she
Yeah,
finally feels like she has gotten some justice and some closure for her daughter.
yeah. Me too. I think that it's a relief for them that they feel like they can move forward. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Paula, no kidding. Paula said, "I hope if Chad gets a plea deal, that he has to say exactly what happened to the kids. Not for my curiosity, but so that he has to face what he did.
Well,
A
and to
freaking man, Paula.
Tammy
Yeah.
and to Tammy, his children should get the truth out of him.
Hmm.
It's never going to happen, but they should.
Hmm. 150,000%. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there's been some other bonkers, wild stuff go on today, and it
Holy
has to
crap! Right?
do, yeah, with Rex Heuerman. You want to talk about the given by a
Holy canary!
1920s pimp press conference?
Right? Okay, so there was a press conference today in relation to the Gilgo Beach murders and Rex Heuerman. But this press conference was held by attorney John Ray. Katie, would you mind grabbing a picture
Yeah,
of
I'm
him
on
for
it.
me? I didn't.
Yes.
I just realized, and we should probably have one.
Well,
Now,
I spent a long time today trying to put together a bit of the press conference, but honestly, it was so hard to get enough out of it that wasn't crazy long to make any sense to you guys, but you
yeah,
should go watch it.
you should. But I'll tell you a little bit about what's happening. So, John Ray is an attorney that has been representing Shannon Gilbert's family, and he kind of calls himself the attorney for the Gilgo Beach victims. So he's not actually involved in this investigation directly, like he's not a police officer or a prosecutor or anything, but he decided to hold a press conference today, and ultimately then the chief of police came and stood next to him, sort of, to make it kind of official. But basically,
But he looked pretty
he's
puzzled most of the time.
well, it's because everyone's puzzled. This whole deal. Oh, thank you. Here we go. This is John Ray is the guy in the polka dot tie and that really strange fedora, and the police chief standing next to him in the red tie. The look on his face is pretty much sums up this whole situation. So what has happened is that John Ray has had some witnesses come forward, and he has deposed them, which he should not be doing. This is anyway. He's fucking with this investigation, and he's, I think, in deep shit. And the prosecuting attorney in this case has been like, this will not be happening ever again. We investigate these cases through grand juries, not through press conferences, right? But let me tell you what he came forward with, because it is interesting information. If it is true, we don't know for sure. But the first statement comes from a taxi driver who had, according to them, a pretty scary experience with someone that they realized later was Rex Heuerman. So let's see. So they knew about John Ray because John Ray's been on TV and stuff, talking about this case. So they contacted John Ray and gave this statement. They say in October of 2009, they were a taxi driver in Suffolk County, New York. And they were sent to a bar um, in Seville, New York, to pick up a man who supposedly his name was Matt. But Matt turned out to be this really gigantic guy. And if you remember, Rex Heuerman is a giant. He's huge.
Mhm.
So Heuerman gets in the taxi and he's sitting um, in the middle, in the back, and he says, "We're going for a long ride in the woods." And the taxi driver's like, "Whoa, that's not what my dispatcher told me. I can't do that without clearing it with my dispatcher first." And he also says, "And we're picking up a girl who lives in a house across the street from the bar who's also coming." And he's this taxi driver, she sees this girl in the house, right? Um, so the taxi driver says, "Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be doing that." And I guess
Mhm.
Heuerman was really rude. "Are you being a smartass?" And the taxi driver was like, "Whoa, I gotta call in and let people know what's going on here." So then their dispatcher was hearing what he was saying
Mhm.
because they were getting kind of scary. Heuerman actually, according to this person, pulled a gun, uh, threatened to kill the driver if they didn't do what he said, even said that they wanted to kill the driver. Again, this is hearsay, so
Mhm.
just know we don't know for sure exactly what happened, but that Heuerman was wearing some kind of a badge around his neck, and the taxi driver asked if he was a cop, and he said that he was in Brooklyn. Um, Basically the dispatcher had already called the police, like, something, this is not good, something's going down here. And so the taxi driver basically said, "Look, if you just get out of my car so I can get out of here, I won't press charges, but I'm not driving you, you got to get out of here." And actually turned off the car and refused to move. So eventually Heuerman gets out and goes over to the girl and her boyfriend, these two young people at this house, trying to get them to give him a ride. And they said no and told him that the cops were on their way. They had also called the police. So then the taxi driver starts driving away, like, "I'm getting out of here."
Yeah.
And sees a police officer coming, stops, talks to the officer, says, "This is what happened." Apparently, according to this witness and their dispatcher, Heuerman walked out into the woods past that house and fired the gun twice. Um, the driver didn't ever know who Heuerman was until he was arrested and Heuerman was on TV. And then this taxi driver put it together and said, that's that guy that I had that really scary experience with, right? So then, same taxi driver, same area, gets called to pick up a passenger at the Seville Motor Lodge. Um, and the the um, person requesting the ride had asked for a female driver, and that they were locked in the bathroom in a hotel.
Oh my god.
So they the taxi driver pulls up. They say they see a gray greenish SUV, which is that Jeep. I think it's a Jeep that they say that Heuerman was driving. Like, this person is identifying this car as the same color. Now,
Mhm.
again, this all happened after a bunch of this stuff came out on the news, so we don't know, but
Yeah.
this is what they're being told. So they pull up to the room number, because this is like a motor lodge, and the driver honks the horn and flashes lights several times, waiting for this person to come out. And then they see a very large man come out, and he's kind of shielding his face, and he runs like to the side street, like back where that other car was. And then this girl comes out and she gets in the taxi and she just says, "We have to get away from here." And one thing is that the taxi driver had noticed that she had like a little bit of a droopy eye.
Mhm.
And uh, she was, she said she was dressed provocatively, whatever that means. She told the taxi driver, this girl did, that she had met this man on Craigslist and that he had befriended her and had said that he would take care of her mom, her sisters, and her boyfriend.
Mhm.
And then when they were in this room, they were apparently meeting up for sex, I guess, because he had placed a thick white envelope on the nightstand in the room, made it seem like it was money, is what it
Mhm.
sounded like, that it was for her and her family. But she got scared because he was scary. His
Mhm.
facial expressions, everything about him was scary. So she went and locked herself in the bathroom. Oh no, he went in the bathroom first. When
Right.
he went in the bathroom, she looks in the envelope. In the envelope is just cut up pieces of paper. There's no
Yep.
money.
There's no money.
Yeah. So she freaks when he comes out of the bathroom. She goes in the bathroom and locks herself in there. So she's called for a taxi. She's waiting. The taxi driver said that she never knew this person's name until she saw her on TV and she identified her as Shannon Gilbert. Now, Shannon Gilbert, of course, is one of the Gilgo Beach victims. This is Shannon Gilbert. And she is one that had not been linked to Rex Heuerman up to this point. So, if this witness is correct, they just made a connection between Rex Heuerman and Shannon Gilbert.
Mhm.
So that could be huge news if it's right, if it's the right person, if it's the right girl. We don't know. And this
Mhm.
is why this is scary because it was not handled appropriately through the police, I think.
Right, and just hand it out to the public like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then there was another witness, and this witness, sorry, let me find this, bring it back up here. This witness was a woman who was a swinger. She and her boyfriend were swingers. And
The way he describes swingers.
it's so bizarre. I'm not even going to say it all because it's just
Okay, Grandpa. Wow.
the way that these statements are written are so awkward. You'll have to go read them for yourself. They're really really awkward. I don't want to go through them all because it takes too much time.
It's too
But
much.
yeah, it is. So anyway, so this person and their boyfriend were swingers, and they would go to a swingers club called Trapeze. And at Trapeze, there would be basically ads on the wall for other couples who were into swinging. And one of the ads on the wall was for Rex Heuerman and his wife Asa. And they had posted contact information for them and in their house at an address in Massapequa Park.
Mhm.
So this was in 1996. So this woman and her boyfriend went there to swing with the Heuermans.
Mhm.
But on their way, this is in February. This person believes this happened on February 14th, which is the day that this young woman goes missing, Karen Vergata. So apparently on the way to go swing with the Heuermans, they just picked up a homeless girl off the street and took her with them. Um which was real odd. She was really scared, she was really cold. The this woman, the witness, says her boyfriend was a police officer and that they told her, "Don't worry, you're safe because he's a cop. You couldn't be safer with anyone else." And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not buying that. But anyway, so they go to the Heuerman house, and they apparently there's a place where you just go in the door around the side of the house. So they go in there, and Karen Vergata goes in with them. The woman stays upstairs with Asa, who is not interested in having sex at all. The cop boyfriend, however, disappears to the back of the house with Rex Heuerman for quite some time. We can imagine what was going on there. Um, this she never actually witnessed that, but that's what she believes was going on. So she talked with Asa for a while. She says Asa said that Rex had brought her from her country because she's an immigrant. I can't remember from where, and that she owed everything to him, and that she was lucky that he was rich, but that she was afraid of him. Um, we don't know what was really said. Uh, so also, this person remembers there being a Christmas tree up in the house, which was weird because it was uh, Valentine's Day,
Mhm.
I guess. Um, and this person remembers that because they like to do their swinging on holidays. Christmas, Valentine's Day, Halloween, and other such holidays.
What?
I don't know, guys. I'm not familiar with this scene, so whatever. So
The Christmas
after,
swing, as you do?
as you do,
What
I suppose
the hell?
I do not know. So after a while of the boyfriend hanging out with Heuerman, he comes and says, I want to go. Let's go. So they go and they get in the car and they have left Karen Verada in the house. Just this homeless girl left with these people, right? And so then the boyfriend realizes he's left his belt in the house, and so he goes in the house to retrieve it. And she's sitting in the car. She sees Karen look out the window, looking scared. Then Karen comes running outside naked, running around outside of Heuerman's house, and then goes back inside. And when the boyfriend gets to the car, she's like, "Hey, I'm worried about her. I don't know if we should just leave her here." And he said, "Oh, it's okay. She's fine. They're just playing a game." Again, she's a total stranger. She is a young homeless
What?
woman, and they just leave her at the Heuerman's house.
What the
Okay?
hell?
This woman said she always felt uneasy about it and has always felt guilty that they left that girl there. Well, no shit. Why did you take her there in the first place?
Right.
So, recently this witness says they saw Rex Heuerman on TV. They also saw a picture of Karen Vergata because her body was just barely identified in August,
Mhm.
and that she realized that that is the girl Karen that they left at that house.
Yeah.
And so this connects. If this is correct, this connects Rex Heuerman and Karen Vergata.
Yeah.
Vergata. That connection had never been made. So if these statements are true and correct, that connects Heuerman to two more bodies found out there in the Gilgo Beach area
Mhm.
than we knew of before.
Yep.
Problem being, can't this stuff's got to be verified. I mean, you just don't take witnesses. They've got to they could ask Heuerman's wife about the swinging situation. There are other people, the dispatcher from the taxi place. Those are kinds of things that could be verified, and maybe that work is being done. I don't know. You know, it's hard to say. It's
Mhm.
interesting if it is in fact true, but it's a big old mess because now investigators have got to take that information and go and see if they can verify and confirm any of it. Karen Vergata disappeared on February 14th, 1996. So that does track. Um, there have been a lot of questions about Shannon Gilbert. The comment about her appearance, about her drooping eye, maybe that tracks. We don't know. But really, they didn't really. Well, the second person, the swinger, they knew who Rex Heuerman was,
Mhm.
but all of this was really identified after seeing them on television, and that is concerning, I think, for
Mhm.
everyone because it's been a long time since these things happened. So
Yeah. Well, and he
I
made
know
this
that they're
big statement that people are coming to talk to him because they don't trust the police, so or the
yes,
prosecutors, so they're coming straight to him, and anyone who wants to talk, you just come talk to me.
right, and the police are like, "Oh no, we want to talk to all of you. Come talk to us."
Yeah, here's
The
their
the taxi
statement. I saved them
driver.
for you.
Oh yeah. So yes. So then the task force comes out like Jesus Christ. without providing any advance notice to the prosecutors pursuing this case in court or the Gilgo Beach Homicide Task Force members investigating these murders day in and day out. We watched today's press conference not knowing what was going to be reported. We will continue to investigate this case through the grand jury process and not through press conferences. No private attorneys are or have ever been members or agents of the task force. Any citizen who believes they have relevant evidence regarding the Gilgo Beach investigation should report it to the investigative agencies that comprise the task force. Those agencies are the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office, the Suffolk County Police Department's Homicide Bureau, Suffolk County Sheriff's Office, New York State Police, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Any attorneys representing victims or their families, by definition, have a conflict of interest and should not be part of the investigation, should not be deposing any witnesses. Accordingly, private attorneys are not part of the task force, and potential witnesses should not be reaching out to a private attorney with an interest in the outcome of the case. So, yeah, so that's what went down today
Mhm.
with, Mr. Ray here. And I do genuinely think that he cares about the families and is trying to help them. But he knows damn well what he did was inappropriate. And is he
Mhm.
trying to get some fame for himself out of this deal? Well, that's pretty likely. So it's kind of a big mess. Maybe
Yep.
these are some breaks in this case. Maybe they're not. But, police say that they will be investigating these statements to see if they can corroborate these stories.
Mhm. Whew.
Yeah,
Well, that is a
it's a lot.
mouthful.
It really, really is.
Well, speaking of a mouthful of bullshit, let's talk about Dick Harpootlian
Oh my God, right?
and, his ride or die Jimbo for a minute and some of the Alex Murdaugh hijinks right now.
God.
They have been trying really hard to find a way to control his money. They've made a whole bunch of different filings. Basically, the money from his estate, from Murdaugh's estate, whatever there is there is was supposed to go to pay back the victims. Remember all those people he defrauded, particularly the Satterfield boys?
Right.
And particularly that's the case. And let's look back to the trial and think about how ugly they were to the Satterfield boy on the stand. They were awful. They just keep targeting these kids, and I just can't even with them. So, their latest attempt here got slapped down. Uh, Eric Bland is the attorney for the Satterfield boys, pro bono, just trying to help protect these kids from these
They've
evil
been screwed so
monsters.
bad.
hmm And here's what Eric Bland said: the continued frivolous arguments and legal positions advanced by Team Murdaugh knows no bounds. If it wasn't so serious and a wasting of valuable judicial resources, it would be laughable. In their latest filing in federal court, in their attempt to commandeer the money recovered by the receivers from Alex's assets that is meant to go to his multitude of victims, Poot and Jim have the temerity to argue that the Satterfields have been made whole and they're not entitled to any more money. This is their new position since they now
Have
have
been
lost.
made whole.
Yeah, yeah,
Their mother died because of these idiots.
yeah. This is their new position since they now have lost the ability to vacate the $4.3 million judgment that Alex gave to the Satterfields in May
Mhm.
2021. Judge Price ruled against them in August on that front. It's for the court and the special referee to determine if the Satterfields are entitled to more money. I can tell you that there is a significant unfair trade practice act claim against Alex, which would lead to triple damages plus attorney's fees since he repeated his conduct multiple times and it had a profound effect on the public. These guys just don't get it. Seriously, why?
Right,
Why do they keep taking swings at the Satterfield boys? For Christ's sake. I'll never
right.
understand that.
I don't either. I mean, it just makes them look like complete and utter trash, which
Yes, it
clearly
does.
they do not care.
No.
Let me answer a question really quick that Noe had about the Gilgo Beach stuff.
Yeah.
What they're saying is if you're a witness, you have some knowledge, you realize now you saw Rex Heuerman, you saw one of the victims, please bring that information to the police. If you want to bring an attorney with you, go right ahead. But don't go to an attorney and give this information. This information needs to be given to the investigators.
Mhm.
This guy, John Ray, is not an investigator in this case.
Mhm.
He's an attorney that represents some of the victims' families. He shouldn't be taking depositions or statements from witnesses. You can
Mhm.
always take an attorney with you to go talk to the police if you want to, but these are not people who are suspects. These are people who are just witnesses.
Yeah.
And they're saying, please come talk to us first because we need to hear this from you. We need to be able to verify what you're saying and get it all down on paper. And if you
Yeah.
read these statements, they are so poorly written and confusing that
Mhm.
holy shit.
Kind of
So
like that
that's what they're
27-minute
saying.
press conference. Holy
Yes,
moly.
it's just a big circle.
Mhm.
So that's what they're saying is please come tell us. We're the
Mhm.
people investigating this. And I know that there's a lot of distrust of the police around the Gilgo Beach deal. Of course there is. These have gone unsolved for so long. There were, police corruption in that area, questions about whether you could even trust the police at the time. But they now have this task force. They're focusing very specifically on these cases and they're saying, we are here to investigate these particular witness statements, please bring them to us. Some
Mhm.
random attorney doing a press conference does nothing but damage the case, not help it.
Yeah.
Because they have to be able to verify this information.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right, Jenny. Dutch Bros.
Yeah, Dutch Bros.
Well,
The
let's
best.
follow up a little bit on a couple more things to know in
Mm.
Murdaugh.
Yes.
Moselle is for sale again.
That's weird.
Well, only half of it. It's kind of interesting.
Oh,
So, the people that bought it in the first place 6 months ago, they're keeping part of it, but they're selling the house and some of the acreage, but not the kennels and the rest. So, it's a 1,770-acre property.
yeah.
So, it was sold for 3.9 million to Murdaugh's former neighbor and another guy. And so now they have announced that they're going to sell part of it. So the
So they're
house and I
splitting it
think
up.
about and 21 acres. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is kind of interesting. They aren't saying why, but this is a People article that actually helps break down what happened with the money from Moselle, which I thought was really interesting.
Mm.
So, and the things that were auctioned off from inside the house, people went true crime crazy and paid an insane amount of money for stuff in the house,
Right? Because gross.
right?
Why
A
would you want
Yeti
to
cup,
own anything?
right? A Yeti cup for $400, a set of turtle lamps for 5,000, Maggie's
That's
bike,
murderabilia gross, is what that
Buster's
is.
khakis. Yeah. Uh
That's
yeah, Maggie's bike sold for $31,000. Oh no, no, no. No, the $31,000 was for the alibi couch that Alex claimed he took a nap on while the murders were happening. It's insane. Somebody paid big money for Maggie's
why.
monogrammed pillows. Like, what the hell is wrong with people?
I don't know. That is so strange to me. I Those poor people were murdered there.
Mhm.
Why would you want their stuff? It's so weird.
Mhm. So there's all of that. Uh which okay, fine. Weird, but all right. So apparently that the sale of all of that stuff and Moselle, though I'm doubting there was a lot to make from Moselle. Like I'm assuming he probably owed a lot on Moselle, but
You would think at the state that his finances were in at the time this all went down, it was not good.
mm-mm, no. But at any rate, sorry, I lost my place in my article here. But at any rate, basically, some of the money from that sale did go directly, it was all in Maggie's name. And some of it went directly to Buster. A lot of it was supposed to go to Alex victims, but the sale of all of that murderabilia went to Alex's defense fund. So all of you dumbasses that ran out there and opened up your credit cards and bought all that shit, you're paying for this fool.
Paying
Yeah.
for his attorneys. Ugh, gross.
So disgusting. Yeah.
Why? I don't understand it.
Mhm. Uh and you're paying for this because guess what? His case is headed back to lower court to
Yep,
talk about the jury tampering allegations. It's happening.
yep,
He could get a new trial.
he could.
So, the South Carolina Court of Appeals has granted his motion to suspend his conviction, appeal, and send it back to the circuit court to consider allegations of jury tampering by the Colleton County clerk. So, it's just the first step in trying to get a new trial. So, now they will have to go to circuit court to present their case and try to talk the circuit court into giving them a new trial. You guys, it could really happen.
Mm,
Can you
it
even
could.
imagine?
No, having to do that shit again.
Oh, I'm just ill thinking about it.
But
Yeah.
they've got to prove that all of that crap that they have alleged is actually true. And we'll see because these guys are a bunch of liars. So,
And a bunch of bumbling idiots. So we'll see.
yeah.
But oh, gross. Sick to death of it. So that's what's up in Murdaugh. Let's see. Christy, talk to us about Kaitlin Armstrong.
So we mentioned last week that Kaitlin Armstrong tried to run from custody recently. Um, so she's sitting in jail awaiting trial, murder trial.
Hmm.
And if you remember, so here's a little more. This is the actual like statement. She's now been charged with a felony in the second degree of escape and causing bodily injury. So this is what actually happened the other day. She got a little further away than I first realized too.
Hmm.
So she's incarcerated on a federal detainer at Travis County Sheriff's Office Correctional Complex for murder. My God, that's a long name. Um, so she had managed to either cause or fake or something an injury that got her a doctor's appointment outside of the jail. So when they took her there, she fled on foot as they exited the rear entry doors of the doctor's office. She was, in her jail outfit, and they yelled for her to stop. She wouldn't stop, and then they had a foot pursuit with her. She tried to scale a 6-foot fence, and one of the officers pulled her off the fence, causing both of them to fall to the ground. So, two officers had minor injuries during this little scuffle and foot chase with
Hmm.
her. She got to her feet and ran. She ran for about a mile, disregarding officers' commands. There were sirens, responding units, like they're all coming at her.
Hmm.
Two officers injured their arms and knees while they were trying to go after her. She managed to get off her black and white striped uniform pants, and she had on like thermal pants underneath to try to disguise her appearance. So there are several things that indicate that this was totally planned on her part. This
Hmm.
wasn't just random, this was planned.
Yeah.
Um, she apparently has been working out like no other the last few
Hmm.
months, running, doing squats and yoga, all kinds of stuff through her recreation time. Like she was getting ready to be able to run.
Hmm.
Um, During the investigation, when she had escaped, they searched her cell. They found a pen and dental floss in her cell that weren't supposed to be there, and the pen had something broken off from it, that was like a solid thin metal piece, like the clip part of the pen probably,
Mhm.
that they think maybe could be used to manipulate her handcuffs because she did actually manage to get one hand out of her restraints, her left hand,
Mhm.
she got out. Let's see. She had made a complaint of having an injury, and that's how she got the medical appointment. Also, because of this supposed injury, there was a medical request to restrict the use of leg restraints. So she didn't have leg restraints on, only the wrist ones.
Mhm.
So they think that her recent exercising, complaints of injury to get the offsite medical appointments, getting the leg restraint restriction, that she was planning this entire thing.
Mhm.
So they caught her. She's back in the jail. She got about a mile.
Mhm. They're
Um,
lucky she didn't get away from them. I think it's real dicey, and it really was close to happening.
right. I think so because man, she was getting ready physically to really be
Mhm.
able to run, and she ran him. She got away for a mile.
Mhm.
But yeah, right. Yeah, I agree, Deanna. She's gonna regret that next time she's actually sick and they don't believe her, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I don't know that she had much of a plan other than she was going to try to outrun them. I mean,
Mhm.
what else, where was she going to go? I don't know. But anyway, that's a little more about what happened with that attempt to escape last week. My gosh, my
Mhm.
cat will not stop. She's back and forth, back and forth. Just pick a spot, Sandy, pick a spot. So, anyway, her trial is supposed to start here at the end of the month. So we shall see.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Paula, all actions of an innocent person, don't you know? Right? Yeah, it was
Yeah, yeah,
pretty
she's a track
interesting.
star.
Well, she was a cyclist. The victim was a cyclist. There were a lot. This was all
Mhm.
to do with
Well, and she
people
was
who
a
like,
yoga teacher as well.
yeah. So
She's
she was already in decent shape, but she's
Mhm.
definitely been working on it
Training it up.
to
Yeah.
be ready, I guess, to unsuccessfully escape.
Well, Kaitlin, sucks to suck.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Oh, Delphi. Couple of
Yes.
things. There is a hearing tomorrow in Delphi, and
Yeah.
it is going to be televised.
Yeah. Should be
So,
interesting.
yeah. So apparently, there's been some back and forth on this, and basically, the Allen's attorneys have asked to have cameras for all future proceedings in the case. Prosecutors said no because cameras would create a circus atmosphere, and with 15-second
Too
clips leaving
late.
an inaccurate impression of the justice system. Bro, we have the right to understand the justice system. Like, don't even with me
Yeah.
on that.
And there are so many
Uh,
questions about has there been some serious shit go down
mhm.
with the justice system, the criminal justice system in this case? I think they should be as transparent as possible.
Absolutely. So Judge Gold basically said, "Yes, we can do it on Thursday. No, I'm not going to say we can do it for time immemorial. We're just going to start right here."
Hmm.
So that will you will be able to watch that tomorrow. We're not going to stream it, but lots of people will. So you'll be able to keep an eye
Yeah,
on
I
that.
mean, just do a Google search and you'll see. I'm sure it'll be all over the place.
So the hearing is to discuss the upcoming hearing on the 31st and other matters that have recently arisen. That could have to do with the purported leak of evidence. Uh, there has been a leak of evidence that sent some crime scene evidence into circulation on social media surrounding the case.
Yeah.
And so the Indiana State Police are investigating that leak. We don't know if they're also going to discuss the request for the Franks hearing. We don't know. We don't
I'm
know
sure
for
it's to
sure.
discuss all of that and figure out how they're going to handle it. It's probably a status conference where they're going to figure out all of that stuff because there's so much stuff
Mhm.
for them to address, they can't possibly do it all at once.
Well, Judge Goal, I am so unimpressed with Judge Goal. Judge
No.
Goal barely, barely peeks her head up once in a rare while to address one or two little things, and
Hmm.
mostly ignores the filings of the defense in this case. I think that's really problematic, but
Well, it's not going to be able to continue, and that's probably what this is about, is to
Mhm.
address when are we going to have hearings on all of this stuff, because there's so much.
Mhm. And the leaks really have to be discussed. And it's possible. Apparently, the defense has leaked a few times now, and has already and have always apologized that it was an accident. This time, it does not look like an accident. It looks like the defense was back channeling some information to other people to get them to disseminate that. And it's possible that they're going to get yanked off of this case. We don't know what's going to happen.
I
So
think they've been really desperate to get some attention on the things that they're finding,
definitely.
and the judge is not giving them much.
No.
There's a lot of concerns here, a lot of
Mhm.
concerns here.
And a lot of concerns that the judge is just ignoring all these filings. That's
Yeah, why is
not
none of this
how
getting
that should
addressed?
happen. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. But yeah, leaks didn't happen until they got into the defense's hand. But again, the defense is also making some really serious claims against the prosecution that
Right.
it's big. And I'll be honest at this point, I don't think the judge Goal is the judge for the job. I feel like this judge
Mm-mm.
is in way over their head, is
Yeah.
not handling any of this very well. It's creating the so-called media circus,
Right.
and they need somebody else, my opinion.
I I agree
But
with you.
yeah, so there's that. So I'm sure we're all going to be watching that with bated breath at this point.
Hmm.
Uh, little poor little Angie Wagner is not
Oh,
happy,
you
guys.
guys,
She's not happy.
guys. Angela Wagner. She is the mother in the Piketon massacre case. So we have her husband Billy, her son George, and her son Jake. And so she wants to fire her attorneys, guys.
Mhm.
She has written the judge quite a letter,
Mhm.
making a lot of allegations toward the attorneys. The interesting thing about this is that she kind of just doesn't seem to get it, that she took a plea and
Mhm.
she's now convicted of
Mhm.
all these murders, and she's going to sit in prison forever. So they don't really care. I
Mhm.
mean, I think that's just the bottom line. She, tries to call them, tries to get their assistance with various things. They don't call her back. They tell her they don't have the
Mhm.
time to talk, or that they don't really have anything to talk about, because they really don't. Her case is done. Her last thing to keep her plea agreement in place is for her to testify against her husband Billy in his trial that's coming up next year. But yeah, there's a lot of complaining in this letter to the judge. She has two public defenders. She's asking for two new public defenders to represent her. Um, there's a civil case coming up, and she's wanting to know if the public defenders will be defending her in that case. And her attorneys are like, "What do you care? You're not getting out of prison. They're not getting any money out of you anyway, you know."
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, she wants women because she's been abused by so many men in her life that she thinks she needs female attorneys now. I'm like, dude, your case is done. You're in prison forever. Like
Mhm.
there's not really much for them to do at this point.
Mhm.
It's all very whiny and throwing her attorneys under the bus and accusing them of lying and a
Mhm.
bunch of stuff. But it's all pretty nitpicky little stuff. Like during COVID, she had lost her phone privileges.
For being a bitch.
Yeah. And so she wanted her attorney to call and check on her grandma and let her know how her grandma is. And she says the attorney lied and said they called and talked to her grandma for an hour and her grandma's fine and all's well. And then she finds out later they never called her grandma, but she had lost her phone privileges. She didn't have a right to be contacting anybody. So, yeah, it's kind of like it's not sinking into her that, like, dude, you're in prison forever. So, whatever, you
Mhm.
know? Um, so I don't know. It's like these attorneys are like, we don't really need to do anything for you. We're busy. We have other clients. We're
Mhm.
done with you. So we'll see.
Talking about times that I called the office and asked for my attorney, and I was told he wasn't there, and I could hear his voice in the background.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Oh,
Just a lot of
Angela.
that and a lot of being told, we don't have any reason to call you back because there's nothing for us to talk about. She
Mhm.
just wants to talk.
Mhm.
and she's been told that she talks too much, apparently. Well, I mean, I guess talk to the prison chaplain. I don't know. Find somebody else to talk to because these attorneys are not interested. And I really doubt that they will give her new public defenders. What does she need them for? She's
What's
not
wrong,
filing
Angela? You're not
appeals.
that popular in prison?
Yeah, she's just not getting much attention at this point. And
Mhm.
after all the shit she's done, I genuinely don't care.
Deanna said, LOL, girl. Take a hint.
Exactly.
Wanted to
Exactly.
welcome Jean. She's a brand new listener. So, Jean, welcome.
Oh, hey, Jean, welcome,
Oh,
welcome.
welcome very much. She also
Yeah,
said that she watched the Wagner trial and Angie got a sweetheart deal of the century. Yeah, she did.
she
Absolutely.
did. And now she just
Yeah.
cannot stop bitching. Billy's trial is April. I think it's
Yeah, I think
April
so.
of
I think we
next year.
decided it's about the same time as
It's right at the
Daybell.
same time as Chad Daybell's trial. Yeah.
Hmm. So that's going to
Yeah,
be.
talks too much and says nothing. So, yeah, it sounds like she just wants to talk and complain. And
Mhm.
her attorneys aren't buying it. And so she wants new attorneys. I doubt they get,
And
I
they have
doubt
to
she
be
gets new
women as
attorneys.
well.
Yes, she thinks she also gets to determine that they
Hmm.
will be women, which I'm sorry, but you are in prison. You are, yeah, whatever, man.
Hmm. Women don't want to talk to you either.
Yeah, like there's nothing they can do for her at this point, you know?
No, not at all. Crazy. So, a couple more things. In Thomas Creech, we reported on this
Yes.
earlier this week. Idaho has signed a death warrant for him. He's supposed to be executed on November 8th. And so there was a ruling from the Supreme Court that came out yesterday that said that on October 16th, 2023, the appellant, through his counsel of record, filed a notice of appeal appealing the judgment entered, blah, 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 basically asking for a stay on the execution. That was denied. However, he can still appeal. So here's what the court's saying: the appeal has to be expedited. The appellant's brief has to be turned in no later than tomorrow, Thursday, October 19th by 5. The respondent's brief has to be filed by October 20th at 5. So they're going to have 24 hours to respond to that.
Wow.
The state
Because
is.
they're trying to maintain that date.
Uh-huh. Any
Which,
reply brief from the defense has to be filed by Monday at 5 p.m.
hmm
And then if they want oral argument, that has to be on November 2nd. So they're really pushing this through quickly to try to
hmm
not have to give up on that date. So we'll see what's going to happen. Is Idaho really going to get back on the execution train? Kind of seems like they are.
hmm they seem to want to all of a sudden.
Hmm. They're desperate to execute the oldest of old men in the prison.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, but we already covered Billy, or not Billy Wagner, still in my head. We already covered Thomas Creech and all of his stuff earlier this week, so you can go and watch that as well.
hmm
I think we're almost there.
We are.
The only other thing is a case that's local to us. We've talked about it a little bit. We never did a full dive into it. It was just about to go to trial. I know we talked about it when it happened because this happened only a couple of miles from my house.
Yeah.
But there was an older couple that was attacked early in the morning by a young man, and he killed the man, and the lady was seriously injured. And again, this was, I'm going to say, 2 years ago.
I think
And
2 years ago. Yeah.
we're actually good friends with one of their nieces. It was awful. Ralph Bryan was the man that died, and his wife Karen, who worked at a grocery store that I've shopped in forever. She's very familiar to me.
hmm
And at any rate, it was just a home invasion, and he uh, shot Ralph and stabbed Karen multiple times. She was quite hurt,
Oh yeah.
and but she did live through it. I mean, this kid was only like 19 when he did this. There was no rhyme or reason to it. He just said he was going to go and kill somebody, and
And
he
why
did.
these people? We don't know.
Yeah, well, there's doesn't seem to really be any answers as to why the
Not even he
Bryans
didn't even live in the same town. It was
didn't live
very
in the same
strange.
town. Didn't seem to know that. or know them. So we've been watching this partly because one of our listeners, her kids went to school with him, and apparently he was a horrible bully in high school and
Wow.
nearly bullied her daughter to suicide.
Yeah.
And so we've been really watching this one close because everyone needs justice from this kid.
Yeah.
And he has agreed to plea. So that's not going to
Yeah.
be going to trial. So we've been keeping an eye on that. I know it's not as uh, big of interest because we haven't talked about it very much, but it was to us because we've been keeping an eye on
Hmm.
this one. So at
Yeah.
any rate, yep, he told his brother he was going to go cap somebody. We don't know why
Yeah.
or why them. But at any
No.
rate, his trial was supposed to start on Monday, but it's been vacated and a change of plea hearing is set for tomorrow morning.
And I'm really grateful for the family that they do not
Yeah.
have to go through a trial.
Oh, absolutely.
They should not have to go through a trial.
No, they shouldn't. My God. There have been some filings in Coburger, but honestly, it's just procedural stuff. And I'm not going to go into every bit of the Coburger stuff because, frankly, it just gets to be pretty tedious.
Yeah.
But of course, there's been more motion there because there always is, but it's nothing that's all that interesting. So, well, I think we did it.
I think we did.
So we're going to go take a quick break. We're going to end this stream, but if you're part of the
Hmm.
subscription service over on YouTube, we'll be back at 8:15 Mountain, so here in about 10 minutes for the watch party. And again, one more time in case you're just getting here, we are watching The Devil on Trial on Netflix. So if you are
Yes.
already a member, then you've already seen that be posted and you'll be able to attend. If you're not and you want to be, just go over to YouTube to our main page and there's a spot right there to join. And all you have to do is join our membership. It's $4.99 a month, and then you can come to the watch party, which
Yeah.
means that we all watch this documentary on our own devices, but we hang out in the chat room together and chat about it.
Yep.
So I
And it's
put a
gonna
quick
be
link.
creepy. Be
Yeah,
prepared.
it's going to be something. So I put a quick link in the chat rooms for our YouTube in case you're interested in that. And that's what's up. So thanks, you guys, so much for being here. Thanks for always
Hmm.
being a part of the squad. We appreciate you so much.
We sure do.
This has been another production of the True Crime Squad. Take care.
Bye, everybody.